government coins. Let's break it down so you understand. ShaKeia and Christlie can help you come up with a proper plan while walking through strategies in this valley of wealth. Take notes, sit back, and invest in yourself. Cause information that you're missing, it could cost you, it'll be adding up. Let them walk you through it, it's about time you start catching up. Learn to understand, then apply, let's get it going. Thanks for tuning in to the government coins. It's time to learn, y'all.
What's up, everyone? My name is ShaKeia.
And my name is Christlie.
And we are the hosts of Government Coins. Today, this is our very first episode.
I know, episode 1. I'm so excited.
Now, for many of you who have been following us, I've been constantly posting a countdown. We talked about it on a number of different occasions, went live.
Yeah, we went live talking about this. I think we definitely mentioned it separately and together about the importance of starting a podcast, a platform for this other type of business. So I think in this world of social media, everybody talks about, they can talk about trucking, they can talk about marketing, they can talk about anything. But this is essentially the platform to introduce all of those things to the government.
Be ready to do business, right? Your company needs to be incorporated. All the basics need to be taken care of. There needs to be a live presence of your business. There needs to be, as a government official, we are having to protect taxpayers' dollars because everything that the government does is funded by taxpayers. That's your, my, all of our dollars that we have to be good stewards of. So that means that you need to be ready. You need to have the proper insurances. If you're a contractor, you need to have surety bonding, so you need to have all of that that's in place and ready to go.
What is your advice for someone just getting into government contracting?
Find your niche, then get rich. All right.
Find your niche, then get
Yes, you gotta focus on what you can execute.
Right.
All right. Before I was selling different products, goods, equipment, laptops, electronics, furniture to the government, it was just tissue and rat traps. Why? Because that's the only thing I could source at the time.
Right.
So I focused on providing tissue, but understanding the niche. So you look at a solicitation and say, oh, they want buy tissue all the time for the house. This is nothing sourced out, but you got to understand tissue, industry. You got 1-ply, 2-ply. You got some that have 500 sheets to a roll or 1,000 sheets to a roll. You got certain type of tissue that's for prisons, systems from federal, state, local jails. Then you have public school systems that have certain type of paper towels and tissue. Then you have court systems and city halls. They have their own different type of brands. So you have to know that industry very well so you can know how to service the customer for what they need. Because sometimes the customer may not know exactly what they need, and you need to be the competent one to be able to express your expertise into what the customer may be looking for that's in your industry.
When a prime wins a contract and a prime needs to bring subs on to meet their 30%. So there's a database that the Port Authority and a number of other agencies are part of called Business to Government, B2G. We certify the firms and we let the primes know that these are certified firms by the Port Authority in the disciplines that the prime could be looking to hire. We also, for every major project, we have several outreach events where we bring primes together with subcontractors. And just recently, we added to our website, if you go out on our website, www.panyj.gov, and you look under business opportunities, and you look for construction, we have just added a place where subs can get to know primes.
So to go historically, right, I thought that I could do this by myself. And a lot of people don't know this, but you will know is that my first construction project was a failure because I tried to do it by myself. It was a failure. It was like I lost like $5,000 off of it. It was small, but at the same time, it was a failure. So then as I consulted with my mentor, he said, you know what, you need a team, right? You need a team. And then he put into perspective, champions have teams, right? Even Even a golfer has an excellent caddy.
Yeah.
Even somebody who plays tennis has somebody there that can make sure they got the necessary water and whatever, give them that insight. So, being in special operations forces, it dawned back on me that, you can't accomplish a mission without a team. Mm-hmm. So teaming, partnering has always been my motto, because that's how you're going to expand in this world of government contracting.
I really niched down this year, 21.
And that's where you've seen that growth.
That's where you see the growth, because now you are not looking at 10,000 things. You're structuring to like I realized, I was like, wait, these bids we keep winning is in the medical space. Mm-hmm. I personally had no intent at all, ever in my lifetime, to be in this medical space. But when I looked at the stuff that we win with the past performance, I'm like, hey, niche down to medical, right? Niche down to engineering, land surveying, and all those good stuff, right? Niche down to those things, attend those events.
Yeah.
And just like, ShaKeia said just now, like we just have to show up to these events. But once you niche, you're going to figure out like, hey, I'm going to these specific events and I'm talking to these specific people. Mm-hmm. And it's going to change. It definitely changes the game.
Because I had my certifications, I was on a preferred vendors list for minority-owned businesses, and I was contacted by a transportation planning firm. And so in a growing city like Charlotte, you're going to have a lot of transportation being built. They're going to be looking at our bus system. They're going to be looking at our light rail system. And so with this money being spent on transportation, they needed a consultant to come in and do the engagement and outreach and communication. And so that very first interaction that we had, they brought me on as a sub. And so we did great. We did awesome work together. So I was a subcontractor through phase 1 and 2 of the transportation plan. And it was in the mid kind of 5-figure level. And then once you do good work with that same partner, they invite you back, and you have to just be responsive, right?
Your resume, right? A lot of bids require your qualification, right? Mm-hmm. And so have your resume updated. Have a resume for the business and have that updated.
And that we'll call that the capability statement. So that resume.
The capability statement, and it doesn't need to be, literally your capability statement should be 1 page.
1 page. I just talked about this yesterday on Instagram. I said 1 page, maximum 2. And that's only if you have like products or something that you have to outline the features for. That's different. 1 page, because
do not have a 20-page.
Look, how many capability statements do you look through per day? Or did you look through per day?
I still do. Still do.
So just breaking out the scope of work in paragraphs and answering the response on each paragraph, then you can take out the scope of work, the paragraph out of it. So if you copy and paste the scope of work into Microsoft Word, you break it out in paragraphs, you answer. So you keep the paragraph there, you answer below it, then put the next paragraph. And then once you're ready to submit, you take out the scope of work paragraph section that you've put in there, and then you have a whole entire response for your qualification. So that is what we like to do. That way you'll never miss the mark.
Sure, I think so. When it comes to like a business responding to an RFP and figuring out pricing, I think first and foremost, I would say do a bid, no bid strategy. And I say that because you want to make sure that, say for instance, the contract is the lowest price, technically acceptable contract that you're looking at. And you're thinking like, oh, I want to go after this contract. But doing that bid, no bid strategy is showing you, one, okay, what it's going to cost you, to actually perform these services. You got to factor in your profit. You have to factor in labor categories like the contractors or consultants or whoever, and this is for service-based contracts, who will be working for you. You have to factor that information in. You have to factor in different overhead costs. And when it comes to pricing, just FYI, FAR Part 14 covers contract pricing for the government side, just so people know that. But all of those factors you want to think about prior to coming up with pricing. In regards to how to do that for labor categories, like you can look at GSA and the e-library, look at contracts that have a similar NAICS code to like your company. I would say locality is important. Like I've seen some vendors or small businesses, large businesses too, they'll have pricing, but the locality is off. It's like, wait a minute, this is for Kansas and your contractors are going to be like in DC. It's like that could be like a difference. So, and that could make a huge difference when it comes to you submitting proposal pricing.
Now, because most of these suppliers are in China or different countries, how do you stay within the confinements of the Buy American Act?
All right, so with the federal government, there's certain products that they do not want you to acquire from overseas, especially like a country like from China, just because it might be related to a security issue or maybe infrastructure issue, stuff like that. But for the most part, most products you could actually buy from China, as long as you follow, like to your point, the Buy American Act. But a lot of things are still not gonna. You don't have to really worry about a lot of things, because a lot of things are still you can still source from China, and believe it or not, a lot of parts, even if they're manufactured here in the U.S., come from China. So there's really no way around it unless it's something time sensitive or security sensitive that you have to kind of like watch for. And all of that, you could really check. You could check the policies on that particular product.
So for those who are like probably don't know what the Buy American Act, essentially, the Buy American Act is an act that was created by the United States to pretty much say that we're going to government agencies, federal government agencies, are going to be restrictive about purchasing goods or items outside of the United States. So whether it's with Great Britain, France, Germany, Japan, China, like they have it's like kind of like a national legislation, and the procurement has to be intended, like if it's for public use within the United States, their goal is to make sure that it is manufactured here in the United States. But to Keel's point, your manufacturer can be in the United States, but your manufacturer has to get their parts from somewhere else in order to manufacture said item, right? And so, but just to let everybody know, when you get if you're responding to a goods RFQ, you need to read the RFQ extensively to understand where it applies to you, because the Buy American Act doesn't always apply to like state and city.
Right.
Okay. Right. Federal, yes, a lot more, but state and city, now you might they know.
Okay, so for me, because I'm a couple years in, I am not on a federal IDIQ. I have a version of it on a local and state level. But what I would say to you is I do have a couple IDIQs that I know are going to be released in 2024. They're
2024.
Yes. And I've been attending the agency's small business meetings, filling out the surveys, sending in my CAPE briefing, and they're like, this is going to be an all small IDIQ. And just understanding what an HCAT looks like and why I would want. And so an HCAT is human capital. It's a human capital IDIQ. And so they're going to issue another HCAT all small. And so attending the meetings, ensuring that if they ask for people to fill out surveys or they want somebody on a panel, I'm here, because they've been shaping this IDIQ since last fiscal year for the federal government. And so they told us, like, we think sometime at the end of 2022, potentially 2023, we'll have an idea of what it's going to look like. We're going to have more industry meetings going into it.